Welcome everyone, Pamela here. I am here to share with you a scrapbook page that I am going to recreate using these Cape Cod scrapbook papers. And today I'll be recreating this design right here on the front of the July, August, Close to My Heart idea book. I'll be able to feature every piece of paper that's featured right here in front of you. So we're going to have a lot of fun, so stay tuned. So here are the featured products that I'll be using along with the papers from the July August idea book. I have the sticker sheet for Cape Cod with wonderful stickers that I'll use a lot of them on here. And then we have the embellishments, which are some paperboard cutouts in kind of a craft color, white, and then the acrylic shapes, along with the scrapbook stamp set and thin cuts. So I've already cut out a lot of the thin cuts that I plan on using on this particular page. You can see right here, I cut them out of White Daisy. And then now these are the papers. I've already pre-cut everything. I just guesstimated the sizes from the idea book and prepared those in advance. I'm going to be using some other products, some stamp pads, the products, accessories I shared earlier, along with some glitter gems. Actually, they're sparkles. And here I am going to color the sparkles using the tri-blend marker to kind of create a color as close as possible to the Lagoon ink pad that I have. It ends up being a little bit greener, but it works really well with this particular layout and the colors that are associated with it. So you just color right over those sparkles and it gives it a pretty light green turquoise-ish look. So there you can see those done. I wanted to get those done ahead of time so I could set them aside to dry. And now I'll be doing the stamping. So these stamps are really awesome because they figured out how to do kind of a shadow. It stamps dark and light, so you don't have to do the two-step stamping. So here I'm going to be using foam from the stamp set to give a little bit of cushion. I normally season my stamps before I use them for the first time. You'll see that I forget to do that on this particular stamp, and it's stamped just fine that way. But I do end up seasoning it afterward. I'm stamping two of them, I believe, in the periwinkle. So I'm just showing you how I get started with one. And that's what's wonderful about our acrylic stamps and our clear blocks, that you can see right where you're stamping. Just line it up and press, and you're good to go. So I'm doing three of the coral in using toffee ink, and then Lagoon ink for the seahorse. So if you're not familiar with stamping, yeah, you just have to pull those off the um, acrylic sheet, put them on your block, and season your stamp, then ink up your stamp real well. I do kind of a twist, twist, tap, tap, and then stamp it on my paper. So moving right along, we are going to edge distress just this one edge of this kind of a leaf paper. The ferns, I guess, is kind of what the paper looks like. And I'm just using my scissors, the sharp edge of my scissors, to do that. You may have a distress edger. I have one around here somewhere, but I don't have a clue where it's at right now. So I just use my scissors just to roughen up that edge and give it a little bit of texture. And then I'll do the same thing to the piece that I cut here with the anchors on it. I'm just going to do three sides, the two short sides and one of the long sides, just using the same technique. And that just kind of, it shows the white edge of the paper and helps it pop off the page a little bit. So it's fun to have different types of textures. Here's another fun texture, especially with our cardstock. So this is our periwinkle cardstock, and I'm just going to tear it toward myself, and you get a real neat look that way because there's white in between, or the color is printed onto our white cardstock. So we have a dark side, the true color of the paper, along with the light side on the back. I used the true color on that one. Next here, I did a 3-inch circle just with my thin cuts and then cut it in half. And I'm using the number 10 gel pen. I'm just making sure it works here on the back real well. And then I'm just going to draw some stitch lines along the outer edge of that circle. So you just want to make sure that you're pulling towards yourself when you're drawing anything. It helps a little bit. And make sure you test out these gel pens before starting on your project to get the ink flowing really well. And it gives that help as well, helps pop that piece off the page and just give it some texture. So I printed off a 4x6 photo with a white border that I wanted to use as my photo on this one. I think this is going to be the cover of our vacation to the beach album. So that's kind of, I don't know why I didn't get a picture of all of us together, I don't believe. So I'll have to go back through my photos later and see. But anyways, I'm just putting down some white daisy cardstock using some temporary glue dots. That way it doesn't shift and move around too much. And I'm going to take, I believe this was a 10 by 10 piece that I cut, and I'm going to lay it down centered in onto that white daisy cardstock. And you can choose whatever adhesive you want to use. I use a tape runner for mine, and just get that centered, just kind of eyeball it. If you want to be accurate, you can get a T ruler to help you with that. Then we are just going to lay down the pieces. So I'm going to show you kind of how I figured out how they layered the pieces on this particular design. I love layering paper and cardstock and so forth. I've really found that that's one of my favorite techniques. So this album cover, or this, not album, but the idea book cover really drew my eye. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to recreate that. So you're just going to watch me here kind of move the papers around, trying to get them in the position I want, and to show you kind of how they layered upon each other. So shifting around a little bit, I end up bringing this leaf piece down some more. So I'm really following the design on the idea book quite thoroughly. And that's why I have it sitting there so you can see as well. This was some paper that I cut at 1/2 inch, I believe, to 10.5 inches. So it's the same width as that background paper that I first laid down. And then we have the little strip that I edge distressed of the anchor paper, and the spun word paper, which is, I think that was the back side of that leaf paper as well. We'll see when I put it all down. But again, I'm just layering and positioning to kind of show you where everything goes. Remember that you can recreate this design in any papers that you like. So that's what's wonderful about our idea books, is that we can gather inspiration from the artwork that is included in every one of our beautiful idea book catalogs. So I also used some strips of silver glitter paper cut at 1/8 of an inch, and they just went across the page. There were 2 different links, and it just adds a little bit of bling to the page and interest. So I really liked that idea that they did on the idea book art cover. And so again, I'm just kind of sharing with you how everything lays out and is positioned. If you have any questions about paper, let me, like the sizes of the paper, reach out to me and let me know, and I'll try to get you some measurements at some point. But I'm going to go ahead and start actually layering everything down according to the layers that they need to go down as, and then we'll get finished. At this point, it really goes fairly quickly because everything is prepped and ready to just adhere. But this wood grain paper, I'm just lining it up again, like I said, kind of according to the example that I have. And then I'll have that background piece that is the floral, the fern, coral, I'm not sure exactly what it is, the turquoise. So that was the back side of that wood grain paper. And I'm just lining it up, as you can tell, on the right edge. And it actually goes over closer to the left side of the page, you can see. So I really liked how pieces of the paper extended past that bottom layer. That was kind of a fun technique I hadn't really thought to do a lot of, at least in this type of paper layering. And here I think I'll add the anchor paper needs to go on next, and it'll go right above that pretty stripe paper that I laid. And then we can add on some of that glitter paper that I cut. Again, I just cut this at 1/8 of an inch. So most of the paper products that we use, you can just use your normal adhesive. Like I said, I like to use a tape runner. I much prefer that over any type of liquid glue on those pieces. So also, I think the only adhesives that I used in this project were the tape runner, some 3D foam tape, along with some glue dots, if that's helpful. I'll put all the products that I used in the description below, along with a link, if I have one, to whether it's my website or to Amazon. I will provide that for you. So just be sure to check out the info that it is attached to this video. And here is, I decided that I want to adhere this mat for the photo with some of my 3D foam tape. So I buy mine in bulk because I use so much of it, and I can cut it whatever size I want this way. So I'm just cutting it probably about 4 inches. I think I did this 4.5 by maybe 6 3/4 inches. And I don't want to adhere it yet because I need to make sure I can get down these paperboard pieces. So this coral is actually cut in half so that a little bit will show from each side of the mat. So you'll see me do that just with some of our scissors. I just cut through it a little bit, no particular way I did it, just clipping off the least amount of the little branches, and just comes right in half perfectly. And I did adhere these along with the glue as well, my tape runner. So I'm just kind of guesstimating where my mat is going to be. So that will give me an idea of where I want the, and then I realize that I need to put this piece down first because the coral goes on top of that. So just position down that periwinkle torn strip, and then I can put down this coral. So just put it where it looks best. Again, I do have an example to follow, and I've pretty much followed this example verbatim. which, I mean, you can deviate from it if you like, but I did happen to have all the supplies that I needed to do the exact example. So that was fun. I actually purchased quite a bit of these products because I knew that I would be using it for our beach vacation that we took as a family at the end of May, right after school got out. So I'm super excited to make more creations with this paper and these collections of products. So I'm just going to use my tape runner to adhere my photo now to the photo mat. And again, this was about a 4.5 by 6 3/4 inch mat, I believe, and my photo is actually 4 by 6 with a um, white border around it. That's how I printed it on my printer. And then I have that is a piece from the sticker sheet. So I went through and used my anti-static pouch to take some of the stickiness off of all my stickers so that I could play with them and position them and they wouldn't stick to my page. So I do end up having to go and put some more adhesive on there as I adhere it to the page. And that'll be my little journaling spot, that half circle right there. So at the very end, actually, I think I'll just have some photos of the completed page using um, that have everything completed along with my journaling. I don't end up doing that on camera. But here I'm going to pop up some of my images. This is the title, so I'm putting quite a bit of 3D foam tape onto it so that it will adhere very well to my page. That Sun and Sea title is awesome. So I was a little concerned because my photo mat was raised that I might need to add a little bit more foam tape, but it worked just fine the way it was. It did overlap onto my photo just a little bit, but nothing I needed to fix. And so here I'm just going to add some of the word strips that are from the sticker sheet. And that was a little banner that came from the sticker sheet as well. I just, it's kind of like washi tape. That's kind of how I used it up there. And then these word strips will go in a variety of places throughout the page. I don't normally use this many word strips on a page, but I really liked how they did that on this particular page. So you saw that I took my foam tape and cut it lengthwise, so that gave me a thinner strip. So that's one of the reasons I really love using this wider foam tape, because I can cut it down to different widths and lengths and so forth. So I trimmed off a little bit of that foam tape so that it wouldn't, since it was going to be, that word strip was going to be overlapping the photo, and that way it would just stick directly to the photo. So that title I just love. So we end up having three of those word strips along with that title. The top one says relax and enjoy, and then we have Sun and Sea Paradise Found. And I have to wait till I put it down to see what the other one said. The other one said at the shore. So Paradise Found at the Shore. I just love that, how you can create fun titles with the word strips along with the larger stickers that are in the collection. I'll have to remember that in the near future. And then I put a few of the word strips up there in the upper right hand corner. So we have Beach Lover and A Day in the Sunshine. So this is my husband Jeff and I sitting on the beach while the kiddos are out playing in the water with the dogs, I think. So I didn't do a very good job of getting pictures of us like that. I took a lot of pictures of the kids. So I'm glad I have this one. Turned out really well. So now I'm taking those stamped images on the thin cuts, the coral, and layering them onto the project. Just using, I think I decided I'll use some foam tape on this one piece of coral. So that's kind of what it looked like in the sample. So I made sure I used my little extra pieces I had over there on the side of my Versamat. And then I just continue layering these pieces to create the design that is featured. I'll add a couple of word strips over top of that seahorse. But aren't those images just beautiful? I just love that they figure out a way so that we don't have to do like the two-step stamping now. It's all featured in one stamp. So it helps kind of eliminate a few steps and makes things a little bit quicker. So again, I'm just adding a little bit of foam tape here and there to add some dimension to the page. That's something you want to think about. I mean, you could certainly just layer everything flat if you want, but it's kind of fun to have a little dimension and texture. It creates some shadows on the page sometimes and just makes things pop a little bit more. So that's why I really love using my foam tape. So this collection, last I looked, as of today, it's August 3rd, and that I'm recording this. So all of these projects that I featured in this are available. So I will link those in the description. You can get a direct link to each item. You can also visit my website at passionateaboutscrapbooking.ctmh.com to see all our new products. This was featured for July with Close to My Heart, and I'm just now getting to play with it after some time. All of July I spent creating classes for and workshops for Close to My Heart. So I am just, yeah, super excited. I finally got to play with the Cape Cod collection. So I am using some glue dots to adhere these acrylic shapes. They are really neat because they're kind of a frosted turquoise blue. I think the colors in this collection were bluebird, periwinkle, lagoon, toffee. I think those are the three that the cardstock pack has. So now I have one more cluster I need to put together right over here in the lower right-hand corner, and you'll see that that's why I didn't have those papers overlap down there. It wasn't a concern to me because I knew I would be creating a cluster in that corner to cover any of that up. So this one, the periwinkle coral, is just going to get tucked up underneath that photo a little bit. And then again, I will layer on using my um, glue strip, my lost the name of what it was called right now, but my glue tape runner. I don't know why that just disappeared from my mind for a moment. So I just have a few more little embellishments here to add on along with those. We don't want to forget those colored sparkles that I did at the beginning of the video. Those will be the very last part of the page embellishments. All right, and I'm just adhering the last few of those paperboard pieces, the starfish along with the seahorse, and I tuck him right down behind that little coral piece. How cute is that with him just sticking up out of there, kind of like he's floating in the sea. And with the paperboard again, I can use my, um, good grief, I don't know why I could not remember the name of my glue. So Anyway, so I'm using glue dots for the acrylics again, and that is going to go right into the center of that larger paperboard starfish. I had to kind of reposition it because I wanted the shapes to match up. And we're just about done with this creation. I just love how it came together. So I hope you've enjoyed this process video and plan on joining me for some future ones. I'm really excited about getting back into this. And so be sure to subscribe and like my video so that more people can find it. And it'll also pop up in your YouTube feed. So the next time that I have a video, my goal is to create a new one each week for the time being until I get a little bit more comfortable doing these on a regular basis. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to share 2 per week in the near future. All right, here I am just adding that last sparkle to the page, and it is complete, minus my journaling. So I'll share the completed page here in just a minute with you, but look how well this turned out. And it looks just like the cover page, just using my own photo. So I'm happy. I hope you are too. Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see more in the near future. Y'all have a great day.